And we are live. Beautiful, beautiful. So I asked you to come on because you're an original, as we were just saying, you're human. And I found your content online, and I found it really inspiring, really nice, and educational. So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do.
Yeah, man. So I run a digital marketing agency with my partner Jane, and we work with mainly small businesses and entrepreneurs just to really help them achieve breakthrough results from their marketing, whether that be getting more out of their website, helping them position better organically. So all kinds of things, really. In terms of me, blimey, man, where do I even start? I think one of the reasons that I really resonated with a lot of your content was because I saw myself a lot in your story, just from how I was as when I was younger, when I was a teenager. I was such an angry child, just constantly, drink and drugs and trying to like drown out the noise in my head. And as I got older, like when I hit my mid-20s, I ended up suffering like really bad anxiety, right? Because like all of that anger, and it was just me feeling lost as a kid, right? My parents divorced when I was quite young, so I had a lot of anger inside, and it just manifested in anxiety, and it got to the stage where I was having like daily panic attacks. So eventually I just kind of decided to look for answers, like, look, what's the meaning of all this? What's the meaning of life? Found self-development like you, and it literally just changed my life, like through things like meditation, reading, just developing a growth mindset just completely changed my life.
It's a hard one though. I mean, how did you find the transition? Because it seems like we did have similar paths there. I mean, was it overnight? Was it a few years transitioning from drugs and business?
Yeah, it was years, man. Like it definitely wasn't an overnight thing. So like that kind of bravado that I was putting up, right? Like, when I was a teenager, I literally thought I was a little fucking gangster. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be part of something. And it got to this stage, like when I entered the real world and I started to mature a bit, and I saw the impact it was having on my mum, I think, as like a single mum. And I just thought like, shit, I need to pull my weight here. Like, she's suffering, she's struggling. So I knew I had to do something. And that's when I think everything came crashing down on me. And that's when the anxiety started. And, that went on for a good few years. And yeah, I literally had to kind of hit that rock bottom of, just having anxiety attacks daily. I was just depressed. I was miserable. To actually start looking for other things. But yeah, like you say, mate, didn't happen overnight at all. Like that took time. And even when I started doing this stuff, there was still a conflict in my head of like, this isn't you. Like, you're never going to be anything.
Yeah, so it's hard. And I think as you're changing, you kind of lose people around you as well. And when you really go through these transitions, not only have you got to battle your own mindset, the people around you, if they can't accept your change, they will definitely hold you back.
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of that kind of people like, what are you changing for? What are you doing? You're not this person.
Yeah, I did. I was quite lucky, actually. So when I was at school, I had a really, really solid group of friends who I'm so grateful for. There was a period where I wasn't really hanging out with them that much, and I was hanging around with the wrong crowd more. But it was nice that I was able to kind of, transition and to fall back on those guys. And they were always really supportive of me. I think, as I started getting into entrepreneurship, you do become a bit of an outcast. I saw this amazing post recently where it said like, when somebody posts about a new job, it gets like hundreds of comments, hundreds of likes. But when somebody posts and says, I've just started a new business, everyone goes quiet. Yes, so it's like, it's this mentality thing, isn't it? Like, it's weird.
Yeah, I find it's very closed-minded. And I mean, when I started to change, I turned into a bit of a dick. you know, I was with the wrong crowd, drink, drugs, substance abuse, always getting in trouble. When I started to change and I found books, self-development, self-education, I started pushing that the same way drug dealers would push stuff. I'm like, you need a book. You definitely need
That's so true, man. That is so true.
People are not ready, you know, until they get to their stage when they're ready to change. If I keep pushing a book under their nose, like, you need to read this, it's going to change your life. And they're like, no, man, I don't want to read. But like, no, come on, you need to read it. And then I become that kind of drug pusher, but I'm a book pusher. And it was annoying. And I annoyed like my whole family. It'd be Christmas time, birthday time, you're getting a book. You're definitely getting a book. I'm going to say
it's coming from a pure place, but yeah, I know. You know, it's only in the past kind of couple of years where I've really realized that, like, sometimes people just have to figure things out in their own way. You know, like you can still be a stand for them by putting out content and by being there, but you know, sometimes you just got to let them go through their shit.
Yeah, exactly. I spoke to Jarek Robbins, so Tony Robbins' son.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah, we caught live, and that was a really eye-opening
Nice.
and he said, I kept saying to him, you know, I was being a dick and I was trying to save people, and I wanted to just save my friends. I wanted to save people. Good morning from New Jersey. Hey, New Jersey.
Good morning, New Jersey.
I kept saying, you know, I want to save my friends, and he was like, you got to the top of your mountain peak. So it took a load of, you know, alcohol, cocaine, drugs, and I'd get to a peak, and then I'd go down, and then it'd take more alcohol, more cocaine, more drugs, get to another peak, and then I'd go down. And then I got to a certain peak, and I was like, I need to change. And he said, unless people get to that peak where they need to change, they're not going to be ready. So they need to get to their own. I was like, wow, yeah, it makes sense.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and I found that really insightful. Just from Derek Robbins, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And a lot of what he said was really intriguing.
That's really interesting, because you can expel so much energy, because of course, like, people that we care about as well, like, we expel so much energy, like, trying to change them, you know, and then we end up drained as a result.
Yeah. Some of that, I see the quotes, you can't give from an empty cup, sort of thing. And I'm like,
yeah,
I do that. I'm always like, I can save you, I can do this, I can do that. Let me help you. Let me train you. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, you can't save everyone. And another thing Jarek said is, it's like walking along the beach and all the starfish are washed up on the beach, and you're just throwing one in at a time, trying to save one at a time. Which I thought was quite long as well, but it's nice.
Yeah.
But then when did you transition to kind of business mindset? So did you go through like employment, dead-end jobs? Was it hard?
Yeah. It was an interesting transition, actually. I think the thing that made me realize, because honestly, mate, I was so consumed by my anxiety at that time. Like, I didn't even really notice. I was living in autopilot, right? Going from job to job to job. Like, I was always bored. Like, I never kept a job for like more than a year, right? I just always jumped from different jobs, but I never even really thought about it, because I was literally on autopilot. And it was only when I started doing that self-development work and learning more about myself, I realized, like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't even fucking like this shit. And that's when I started to look, like, you know, other options, and realize, like, entrepreneurship was even a thing. And then, yeah, eventually, like a couple of years ago, it's probably 2-3 years ago now, I took the dive, left my job, and just thought, fuck it, let's just give it a go.
And how's it been for you?
It's been a wild journey, man. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like, so many ups and downs. But I think one of the things entrepreneurship does is it really exposes you, and it really accelerates your kind of understanding of yourself, but it accelerates your self-development as well, because there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when the buck stops with you, when you're responsible for bringing the money in and all of that, like, there's nowhere to hide anymore.
Yeah. I think that was one of the easiest things of getting into those comfort zones. You know, if you're in a dead-end job, you just go there, you do your time, and you get paid on Friday. Whereas if you're getting it in yourself, you're like, oh, shit, if I don't work, I don't get paid. And I think is a big kick up the arse for a lot of people. And that I think it comes down to kind of, I think it's Tony Robbins who says it, burn the boats. Or is it Tony Robbins? Who says burn the boats. If you haven't got somebody feeding you or that comfort zone or something that you can retreat to, you've got no other option. It's not about what you want. It's about what you need. You have to have it. You know, you be a wantrepreneur, or you're going to have to go out and get it, get the money, pay the bills. If not, you're going broke and you're going homeless.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good point, actually, because before I started the agency, I dabbled in a few things. Like I dabbled in like affiliate marketing and stuff like that, but it never really went anywhere. And that's why. It's because I didn't need it.
Yeah.
You know, it's more of like a want. It's like, oh yeah, I wanna have a side hustle and passive income and all that stuff, right? And then it was like, it just doesn't happen, right? Life gets in the way. We've had a shit day at work. We're just like, I just need to chill, and it doesn't happen. So.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, this chilling kind of mindset as well. I mean, it comes down to the gym with a lot of people. I haven't got time. What's your views on people who haven't got time? You know, whether it's gym, mindset, motivation, health, fitness, love. A lot of people will be like, I haven't got time. Like somebody else has got 24 hours, like more than 24 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a sore topic for a lot of people, right? Like, I know it's a controversial subject, but I do think it's bullshit. Like, we all have the ability to set our own priorities at the end of the day. And I've seen, and don't get me wrong, like, I'm in a pretty fortunate position, right? I don't have kids. I don't have, you know, all these other responsibilities, but I have seen and I have met incredible people, you know, like single mums who have got 5 kids and they're flipping, like, you know, they've started their own empire.
Yeah,
it's like I just see it around me. When you start, I think when you start changing your friendship circles and you start hanging around with other entrepreneurs and you start saying like, holy shit, like if these people can do it, exactly, I can do it. Like anyone can do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I try to explain to people this, that sort of mindset. You're like, if they can do it, why can't you? And then people get like, well, they're not me. They're not going through my stuff. No, they've gone through a lot fucking worse. What's your excuse? There's people out there with no arms and legs who are getting 6-packs and going on triathlons or marathons and doing stuff. And, you know, you've got old Sandra sitting on the sofa every night of the week going, oh, I wish I could be healthier. Well, you've been sitting on the sofa, love. You're eating crisps and drinking Coke. Like, oh, I haven't got the time. You've had 4 hours of watching Game of Thrones. Don't give me that. And that's where you call them out on their bullshit.
Yeah. It's so true, dude. It's so true. And I guess it comes back to that thing earlier though, right? Like some people just aren't going to be ready to hear that. Yeah. And it comes down to that. And you know, I think we've both been there. I think I saw in one of your blogs, like you were talking about this as well, but having that blame mentality where it's like always external things, right? Like, oh, my circumstances are shit, or it's that person's fault that I'm this way, or like, you know, we're always coming up with reasons as to why we can't achieve what we want to achieve. Yeah. Instead of thinking about, well, fuck the reasons. Like, how can I actually do this?
Yeah. Yeah. And it comes down to the simplicity of kicking the coffee table. You kick the coffee table, you hit your toe, and then you blame the coffee table. It's been there for 2 years. Your excuses have been there the same. Stop blaming shit.
So true.
It's a madness, and I think I was in that mindset so much. I was like, it's my boss's fault I didn't get paid. No, it's my spending habit from drinking drugs is why I didn't have money. There's an impact. And when you do kind of get that, you probably can relate. When you do get that mindset of it's me, it's my fault, and I got to take responsibility. Then you start looking for options, and then you start planning, and then you start thinking, and you get around it. But until you can kind of own it, you're just going to keep failing.
Yeah, it's so liberating. Like when you have that realization, you know, I actually started a podcast up with my partner recently, and we were talking about this the other day. Like it's this distinction between responsibility and blame or fault. Yeah. It's like to take responsibility something does not mean that you are to blame or that it's your fault. It just means you are making a choice to empower yourself to be able to do something about it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And Will Smith said something on it. It might not be your fault something's gone wrong, but it's definitely your responsibility to fix it. And I was like, it makes sense. You know, it's not your fault that somebody cheated on you, but it's your responsibility how you handle it, how you move forward, and how you fix from there. And I thought that that's very self-empowering as well.
100%.
Which, in touching down to kind of, if we go back to mental health, you say you had the anxiety, a lot of anxiety, and panic attacks. Yeah, panic attacks. Having suffered with them since I was a kid, you know, I didn't have them consistently all the time, but every few years, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you just get slapped in the face with a panic attack, and you're like, oh my God. Yeah. And then it just shows you how weak you can be all of a sudden, and you get scared. And I think a lot of people are suffering, like mental health wise now, because of COVID and jobs and job losses and debt and death, and kind of 2020 just needs to be chucked in the bin. But I think a lot of people are struggling now. So have you got any like advice or, you know, mindset? Because obviously you've come past that and you've suffered from a lot of these. Have you got anything that you could say to people, you know, struggling now with kind of mental health, anxiety, panic attacks?
Do you know what's really interesting, actually? Like this kind of sounds like strange advice, but honestly, I think it's probably the thing that helps me with the most with my anxiety, and that's to just be okay with it and almost welcome it in. Like it sounds crazy because like when there was a period where, you know, when I was reading these self-development books, I was like, right, you know, strong mindset, I can achieve anything, like fuck off. I was like trying to push my anxiety out, you know, like I was really trying to fight against it, not realizing it's almost like that analogy of trying to fight fire with fire. Yeah. Right? Like it's not going to go out by putting more aggression and anger towards it. So I almost like had to just learn to just sit with it and be with it and just see it as like almost like an old friend. Right. And almost like feel sorry for it and be like, oh, hey, dude, and just recognize it. It's like it was really meditation that helped me get into that mindset. Like when I started meditating, I struggled initially because I thought, you know, it was all about being this like Zen Buddhist monk and clearing your thoughts, like not having any thoughts or feelings or whatever. And then I realized like, actually, it's not about that. It's just about being with your thoughts. Sometimes you're going to feel sad. Sometimes you're going to feel angry. Sometimes your mind's going to be all over the place, and that's okay. Just be with it. And I think when you start to do that over time, your anxiety naturally just dissipates because it's got nothing left to feed on because you're not fighting it. It's weird how it works.
I think that's a good way to see it. It kind of relates back to what we just said about self-empowerment and self-control sort of thing. I mean, when you own something, then you have more power over it. And that kind of relates to what you just said. When you own the anxiety and say, it's okay, I'm going to get past this, I'm going to deal with it. Then again, I'm guessing you get the power from owning it. Use it.
Totally.
Learn from it when it appears to acknowledge it.
So true, Kelly.
Yeah. Yes, that's very true as well. So what's your views on this lovely COVID, which has really, really helped so many? Business-wise, I know we're all kind of buggered of us. Other than the ones that are shutting down, physical businesses who have just been thrown away. You know, has it affected you business-wise?
When the first lockdown happened, we were in a pretty good position because I guess a lot of businesses started to take their online presence very seriously. So we actually started getting quite a lot of inquiries when the first one happened. Now, I think we're starting to see more of like the long-term repercussions because, like, you know, some of our clients are going out of business. So that's obviously affecting their cash flow and they're now in like survival and panic mode. And it's like, you know, so we're starting to see some of the long term, and I guess we don't really know, like, you know, in a couple of months time, the long term effects of all of this, like shutting down local businesses, like the effect on the economy and all of that. So yeah, it's scary, man. And it is like my heart goes out to any businesses or anyone that's been directly or indirectly, you know, affected by it. I know it's kind of difficult to see it like this sometimes, but I do believe though that it's like anything, right? Any kind of big change, it opens up new opportunities.
Yeah.
Right. Every time there has been a recession or a big challenge in the world, it's created new opportunities off the back of it. Even if we can't see it right now, there's a kind of an analogy / quote that I absolutely love. And it talks about, like, you know, negativity almost being like clouds in the sky, right? Sometimes they're going to be like scattered clouds, and sometimes it's going to be completely overcast. So we can't see anything but darkness, but the blue sky doesn't go away. The blue sky is always there. It's just sometimes we got to wait for those clouds to pass.
That's a nice analogy. That's a nice way to view it, to be fair. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, definitely like that. I always say to people, you know, when it's talking to clients, business owners, or people online, when I'm trying to be motivational or positive, there's always blessings and lessons in everything. You know,
yes.
If I didn't go through all the shit that I went through, I wouldn't be the person I am today. If I didn't fail so much, I've learned so much. So, you know, there's always blessings and lessons. It's horrible. One recent thing is my cousin had a car accident, and now he's in a coma. Well, he was in a coma, and now he's in brain damage in the hospital. And if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't respect and learn that the rest of your family is so important and time is so limited. So now he's on the road to recovery. It's one of the most detrimental things and horrible things to go through. But then there's a blessing and a lesson in that. So it's in everything, no matter how morbid it might be or how detrimental it might be. Just, you know, not just about business, but it could be everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think blessings and lessons in everything in life.
I love that. Blessings and lessons. Yeah, that's so true. It's so difficult to see it like that sometimes, especially, you know, like with what's happened to your cousin. Like, that it's powerful to be able to take that perspective on it, man. Because like sometimes I think initially when things happen, it is difficult. You just think like, fuck, like, is this really happening right now? But yeah, I guess when you can take the time to see, like, but these are, you know, this is, there was a movie, I can't remember, the title just stands out to me. It was called Collateral Beauty, as opposed to Collateral Damage, which I found like a really interesting concept. And it was basically like that same notion, right, of, you know, people talk about collateral damage, like all this like negative effect that has happened, but actually there is some beauty that comes out of that as well. And people never really focus on that.
Sounds like a more of an optimistic movie, like looking for the blessings and lessons in life.
Sounds
like a movie. Was it a good movie?
I think it was. I can't really remember what it was even about fully, but it's just the title stood out to me when you were saying that. It's like the whole kind of cup half full or half empty, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, watching movies like that, in motivational, inspirational movies like that, something like The Blind Side. Have you ever seen The Blind Side?
Yes, it's an awesome movie.
See that movie? It's horrible. You know, the poor guy, he's never had a bedroom, he's never had a family, he's never really supportive. And then boom, he's got the blessings and lessons because he's a big dude, he's loving, he's caring. And then you see it turn out and you're like, well, do you know what? There's goodness in the world. And it's nice to see movies and come up stories as well.
I guess that's a nice thing about movies, actually, and even like books, movies, or even hearing other people's stories, because it allows you to see situations from a different perspective, like things that might be happening in your life. When you can see it and not be so emotionally attached, you think, oh, maybe I've never considered that perspective for me before. You know, because when we're so close to something, like so close to a situation, so emotionally attached, it can be difficult to see it in a different way. Whereas like other people's stories or movies and books, they give you that different perspective.
Yeah. And I spoke to a entrepreneur, James Sinclair. He's up north. He does a lot more online now. So he runs like mostly entertainment stuff and kids playgrounds, and he's got a few books. But he said one of the best things he ever done as a business owner and getting onto, you know, becoming a millionaire was autobiographies. He always read autobiography because he said to get mentorship from these millionaires, from these inspirational people, it's going to cost you thousands. To read an autobiography on their life, you'll get kind of mentorship. You're seeing their failures, you're seeing their successes, you're getting the mentorship. But it's only an autobiography that might cost you, you know, £10-15. And I thought that mindset was really inspiring. £10-15 to be around.
Yeah, that's a really interesting perspective. I'd never really thought of that before, but it's a really good point actually, because you like, and this is the thing with a lot of like, you know, books and even advice that you hear from other entrepreneurs or even motivational speakers out there. Sometimes what works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for you.
Yeah.
Right. So I think when you read books that are very much like, you know, here's the strategy, here's the advice, go do this, like, you know, the miracle morning, like getting up at 5 a.m., like, okay, that might work for some people, but it's not necessarily going to work for everyone. Whereas when you hear it in a story form, it's like, okay, how can I take these lessons and blessings and apply it to my life?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, one of the first books I read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And because it was kind of a novel, you kind of get sucked into it a bit easier. That storyline. And when you pull it down, you don't realize that it was very educational as well.
Yeah.
Because I find it very hard to read. When I first started reading, I was like, I never liked reading in school. Why am I going to start reading that bullshit? You know, it didn't teach me nothing in school because I was, as you say, I was a bad boy wannabe. I didn't care about that. I wanted popularity. But then when you break it down to like finding novels and stories and something you can relate to, so autobiographies would be a good one. Different novels would be a good one. Finding somebody who's inspiring that you can relate to would be a good one. Seeing videos online or movies, they are good ones because you can see the lessons in them, but you don't take them as lessons. You're just getting sucked into a story. And I thought that was a really nice way to do it. Because I've got many friends who still tell me to fuck off if I tell them to read a book. But they do know that, and they've admitted many times, yeah, books change your life, but they're not going to change mine. And then I was like, okay, what about, as Kelly said, what about audiobooks, podcasts? Just a good example, Kelly. Audiobooks are great. Podcasts.
Audiobooks, awesome.
Yeah, I think the audiobook, I had, what is it? Get Rich? No. How to Influence Friends? No, I think it was Get Rich. How to Get Rich, is it? No. How to Influence Friends? How to Influence People? That one. How to Influence People.
I was thinking Get Rich or Die Trying came into my head, but that's 50 Cent's album. Yeah, there's so many of those books, isn't there? Like Napoleon. What did Napoleon Hill write? Was that I can't remember.
And Influence People, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's too many of them.
But as Kelly said, audiobooks. I actually had the book sitting on the shelf for years, but I listened to the audiobook version in the car, I think 3 or 4 times. But because I was driving a lot, and because there's little stories in it, you kind of get sucked into the stories. And I'll just press play again and listen to it again, or rewind and listen to a certain part. And I took in all the information, but I didn't actually pick up the book that was in my house. So again, the audiobooks, like Kelly said, is a really good idea.
Definitely. I guess and even that, like, it's a perfect example, right? It's like one of those things where some people prefer, like I prefer audiobooks as well, whereas other people, like, they prefer reading a book and turning the pages. It's like finding out what works for you, I guess.
Yeah, and some people can be really, really uptight and be like, whoa, I'm not having one of those digital books. I can't deal with that. I need pages. I need paper.
Yeah.
People become really kind of, I won't touch a digital book. I mean, we're all different, and I think we've got to kind of accept that everybody's different. But
Totally.
with being online, have you ever had any kind of backlash? Like, you're not this person, you can't do this, you know, kind of negativity with what you do, who you are?
Yeah, not a massive amount. I've had a few people, you know, commenting, saying, you know, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who are you? Like, why would I listen to you? Like, you've got 300 followers. Like, who even are you to talk about this stuff? And, you know, all of these things from, and when I first started getting them, it did used to like really annoy me, and I wanted to, you know, just to fight back and argue with them. And then I realized, like, that was me once upon a time.
Yeah.
Right. Like the kind of place that you have to be in to actually want to spend your time commenting and tearing down other people's houses. Like, you have to be in a pretty damn dark place.
Yeah.
And that kind of shifted my mindset to having more compassion for these people. Don't get me wrong, but then I have to remind myself.
Oh no, he's disappeared. It's just me. Got a little bit. Okay. Hopefully he comes back on in a sec. For now, it's just me. I don't know what to do. It's not watching, just me. Where's he gone? Let me see if I can message him. I'm guessing we lost the. That was going really good. I really like that part about, you know, people breaking you down and trying to argue. Where is he? Where is he? I wonder if he knows he's disappeared. You've vanished. I'm alone. I'm alone. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? So hopefully join back on in the live in a second, guys. It's just me at the moment. Kelly and Venus. Oh, there he is. Showing stream. 3, 2, 1. Blue screen. Hold on. One. We've got a blue screen. Not sure what's going on here. Just me. Just me at the moment. Maybe it's reconnecting. Hold tight, guys. Hold tight. Let me type something. Hold tight. Reconnecting. It's not how you spell reconnecting. What are you doing? There's no V in reconnecting. Ooh. Hold tight. Reconnecting. Is everybody having a good day? Look, I've got a guest here, but we're having technical issues, and now it's just me. Let me turn some music up, maybe. Week in a week. I don't up too much because Facebook and, you know, start censoring it. You know what they're like. Yeah, you can't put that up. How's your day going, Venus? Okay, having a good day. Did you know I'm sitting at my bar? Good. I'm glad you're having a good day, Kelly. I'm sitting at my bar, my little bar at home. Yeah, it's a bar. Bar. Let me message him. I don't know what's going on. Showing stream. 3, 2, 1. Come on. No, blue again. Getting ready for work in this rainy day. It was raining here as well, to be fair. Cocktails? Yes, Kelly. We will do cocktails at my bar. Right now, there's just beers. Yeah, and coffees and teas and relaxation and games and good times and good vibes. Getting ready for work on a rainy day. It was raining here, Venus, but it's not anymore. The sun has actually started to shine, which is, oh, look, there's my little doggy. Sun has started to shine. A beautiful day outside. Right. I think we're having a few technical issues. So what I'll do is I'll stop the live there. If you catch up with Tom on his socials, it's at the bottom there, and I'll put some links in the description. Catch you guys in a bit. Have a great day, you beautiful people. Oh, wait a minute. He might be back. No. Oh, yep. Hello.
We should be back in business. Can you hear me all right?
I can. Then you went blue, then you went green. Yep. Back on.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, you were saying like people, they're coming on saying, "Who are you to give advice? You've only got 300 followers, right?" And say they're hateful people, and I've had it, a few just hateful people for no reason.
Yeah. And there's always going to be some people, isn't there, who just, it makes them feel better. It makes them feel better about themselves by tearing others down. It comes down to that excuse and that blame mentality of, of like, oh, this person can't, they can't do this. It just makes them feel better about themselves.
Yeah. Venus, come back to that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've had it a few times. I've actually had one guy from somewhere in Asia. He kept popping into my direct messages. "You're not an entrepreneur. You're not this. You're not that." I'm like, "You've never met me. You don't know me. Why? What is wrong with you?" They just get blocked essentially in the end. But you try and relate to them. You try and be compassionate. You try and say, "Look, I respect your opinion. Live your life. Peace and love." But sometimes it just has to be that kind of, delete, block, unfriend.
Yeah.
Some of the most powerful buttons online that are underused, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
But related to followers, a lot of people judge someone's kind of status to the amount of followers they have. And I think that's absolutely crazy. Whether you've got 1,000 or 5 followers, your content hasn't got any less or more value. It just reaches less or more people.
Yeah.
So that blows my mind. And people do base it on, well, you've got this person's got 1 million followers, so I'm going to listen to them. That person's a fucking idiot. They're telling you to buy skinny tea or skinny coffee, which they've been paid £100 to do, just because they're a celebrity. Fuck off. Stop listening to people because they got followers. They're going to make you an idiot as well.
Yes, it's a dangerous mentality to have, really. Like it's I guess it's just so deep rooted in our in just human conditioning, isn't it? Like even from a tribal mentality, like we follow people who we deem to be leaders. Like if someone has a big following, it's like, oh, this person must know what they're talking about. But in the age of the internet, we know that's not true. Like you say, like people can get 1 million fake followers.
Yeah.
Right? Hear about these fake influencers who bore millions of followers and they get 0 engagement.
Yeah,
because fucking fake profiles following them. So it's dangerous, and we do 100% need to be careful of who we are actually following.
Yeah, and when I started out on Instagram years and years and years ago, I went and bought all these fake followers. I got up to, I think it was just under 10,000 followers, and I was like, yes, I am so popular. I am so loved. I am so cool. And then, like you say, there's no engagement. There's no likes, very little. And then what you don't realize is once you do all this, it actually destroys your real engagement, destroys your real followers, it destroys real, you know, the analytics are like, this person's no good anyway. They've got 10,000 followers, but nobody likes their stuff. So stop showing it to people. So you got that downside as well that people don't take into consideration. They just look at numbers, and it's a numbers game so much. I think it should be, as Gary Vee says, it should be about kindness, sharing, caring, love, peace, you know, authenticity online. You know, whether you've got 5 followers or 5 million followers, you should be looking at what they're saying, what they're doing, how
100%.
And I think the more people out there who do that, who are real, eventually it's going to show. Eventually.
Yeah, totally. I think the other thing as well, and it's funny, like we were talking about this before we went live, weren't we? But like, I've been trying to make an effort recently to actually like get to know all of my followers, my friends, my connections, because like it is even from the other side, right? Even as somebody who has a following, if you've got an Instagram profile, it's easy to see that follower count as a number.
Yeah.
And you forget that there is a real human on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of people get into this mentality of like, oh, I'm just going to post. Like, I shouldn't have to talk to people, you know? And it's like, no, like you can't like build up real engagement and relationships like that. Like you have to get to know people. Like people want to feel understood. They want to feel recognized.
Yeah.
So yes, it's really interesting how that happens.
As we were saying before we come on, you were saying that, you know, you're reaching out, talking to people, you know, building up relationships and gaining clients as well, because you're human, because you're actually because you're reaching out and being original. And you know, hats off to you for doing that, taking the time, the effort and the dedication to do that for not only your followers, but for your clients, for your potential clients, and just to be an original person. There's not a lot of people like that, and it's good that you've actually done that and taken the time and effort to do that.
I think it's weird. It's like, and I've recognized this in myself a lot, and it's almost like having an abundance mindset, right? Like I think people get into this thing of like, oh, this person's got nothing to add to me, so why am I going to message them or speak to them? You never fucking know who you're speaking to, right? Like you don't have a clue. I heard this example once. I can't remember who was saying it, but like they were talking about, you know, some guy's profile, and he had like 50 followers or whatever, just looked like some random dude, and he happened to be like the cousin of the CEO of like a massive company.
Oh wow.
And you never know who you're speaking to and how that person, whether it be just having a new friend, whether it be, you know, somebody that maybe you buy services from, maybe this person can change your life and you don't know it yet. Maybe it's somebody that could be a client. Maybe it's someone you collaborate with, maybe a potential future business partner, right? You never know how a relationship is going to evolve and transpire.
No. And I think that's why we get lost online a lot, because we do look at the numbers game, like you said. But what's your thoughts on social media being positive or negative for people? So I've seen recently 3 friends on my list. I spoke about this the other day. 3 people on my social media, which was my Instagram, said, I'm coming off of social media. It's affecting my mental health.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, how? Why? What? But, you know, I want to get your perspective on social media. People see that it affects their mental health negatively.
I did a post about this a little while ago, and I said it's kind of similar to a DJ complaining about his own selection. It's like you choose who you're connected with on social media in the same way that a DJ chooses what flipping songs he's going to play and what vinyls he's going to buy. Like it's up to us who we surround ourselves with. I have no doubt, like, social media can be a very toxic place, but we are fully in charge of that. Like, we are totally in charge of, you know, the amount of controls that things like Facebook and Instagram gives you these days to be able to, like, you know, stop seeing content from a certain person. And don't get me wrong, I know, you know, there was that movie recently, like that social media movie, and a load of people were like, oh my God, it's out to get us. And yes, like, you know, there are things like, unfortunately, advertisers can push certain political campaigns and all of that kind of stuff. So there is that. But again, like, you have the ability to scroll past these things, right? If you don't want to, if you want to take a break from it, cool. But I think people are, it's like you said, like, two of the most underutilized buttons on social media, like block or unfollow.
Yeah.
People don't do it enough. And it can, when we use it right, it can be very empowering. When we follow the right people and connect to the right people, social media can change your life.
Massively. And I always say to people, it is, like you say, it's what you follow, who you follow, and what you follow. If it's not inspiring, motivational, you know, positive, then that's your choice as well. And we get up, you know, everybody wants to follow the Kardashians and get that big bum or those big lips, and you know, everybody wants to go watch Towie. You know, you do realize that's just drama, alcohol, violence, bickering, and people don't realize that it affects them, but they carry on. They carry on liking it. I want that body. I want those lips. I want those abs. I want that car. Well, fuck you, man. You're choosing to look at that. Like, you're choosing to get upset about that. You know, if I scroll through my Instagram, it's, you know, motivational people, inspiring people, like seeing your posts. You get a good feeling when you see your post because it's motivational or, you know, it's business related. When people come across my posts, I had a client this morning, lovely lady. She said, I love your posts because they're real, they feel authentic, and they can be kind of controversial. So again, you know, she said she loves coming to view some of my stuff. And then again, when I'm doing the bouncer work, when I'm doing a lot of the bouncer work, the young lads that I've spoken to there who have still got the substance abuse issues, they're like, oh, Fatz, it's good going to watch your Instagrams because it makes me feel good or makes me get up in the morning, makes me want to change. I'm like, that's keep following that shit. You keep following people who are talking about money, this, gang, that. You're choosing to feed your mind with that negativity, and that's what affects you ultimately in a negative way.
I love that, man. That's so powerful. I remember when I first started posting, like, you know, mindset stuff, like you were saying, right? When you first get into like mindset and motivation, you want to like feed it to everyone, right? Like, oh, you need this, you need that. But when I first started, I was doing like loads of videos, loads of like motivational content. And I had a guy reach out to me who was one of like, you know, the cool kids at school, right? And he's always been, you know, he's never really broken out of that. He was one of the people that I actually thought, when I was doing this stuff, I thought, oh God, he's going to be judging me, he's going to think I'm an idiot, I'm a retard, and all of this. Like, he actually came into my head. Probably about a year later, I had a direct message from him, and he said, thank you so much for posting all of this content. Like, you know, I've struggled with anxiety for so long, and I've never been able to tell anyone about it. And bear in mind, this guy never liked any of my content, never commented on any of my content, because he knew if he did, his friends might see it and they'd be judging him. But he was secretly watching and hopefully benefiting from that mindset, like these guys were saying to you right on the door. It's like, hey, like, I really appreciate you doing that, even though in their circles, you know, their circles they're hanging around with are probably still like damaging to them, but at least they've got a positive light, and that is sometimes enough, right? That's all it takes for that person to step up and say like, hey, I'm moving on with my life, I'm going to do something else.
Yeah, and I think that it relates to people don't realize how much a powerful it is just to share that content. Not, you know, if you put a business post up, that'd be like 5 tips to help a business owner. But somebody's like, I'm not sharing that because I'm worried that they'll think I need the tips. Maybe they do share that, and then one of their followers are like, I didn't try that. And then their followers have learned from you because they've shared it. They've given up via you. And people don't see it all the time. Like when I talk about mental health or suicide, because I went through very dark patches in my life where I just wanted to die. And, you know, I put something up and then they share it. I've had direct messages from guys in the local area who are suffering alone and like, oh, Fatz, you know, can I talk to you? I need to talk about this. I'm thinking about these dark thoughts, and, you know, just talking to them for a bit. And then, you know, I get a message I think it was like 6 months later, and one of the guys said to me, "Look, Fatz, after our talk, I stopped drinking so much, and it's really helped. And I cut back this, and I spent more time with my kids." And then a few months later, he's like, "I'm really, really grateful that we had that talk, and this is how well I'm doing." I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" I realize how much just sharing somebody else's content or sharing, it's not helping the person who created the content; it's helping the people who can't see the content.
Yeah.
And
man, I got goosebumps when you said that. Like, honestly, it's so powerful. You just, and this is the thing as well. Like, a lot of and it comes back to the whole numbers thing and the obsession with numbers. Like, when I was posting back then, I had zero likes, zero engagement. No one was commenting, and it had got to the stage. It was so funny. Like, just before this guy messaged me, I was thinking like, maybe I should just stop this. Like, no one's fucking like watching it anyway. And then when I had that message, I realized like, doesn't matter, even if nobody likes and comments, you have no idea who that message could be reaching and what they are going through at that moment in their lives, right? Like, sometimes it might be the fucking right message at the right time that could stop someone from fucking suicide.
Yeah.
You literally never know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, just because you can't reach that person, you never know if they're watching. And the prime example is all of us can relate. Everybody watching this, and yourself, who watches your stories. Like, 20 people see your story, but you get 2 likes on a post. You're like, what are you other 18 people doing? Why are you watching? What are you doing? Yeah, for love.
Yeah.
Like, we know it's watching. We know it's reaching them. But sometimes they're just scared to show the love because they're scared of what other people think. Maybe they just don't want to love, but we know it's touching them. And as you say, somebody reached out to you. They was watching. They didn't want to show they was watching, but they are getting reached. And it is that content. You've got to keep pushing forward. You've got to keep sharing, showing love, keep creating the content, and it will reach the right people. I had one big guy. He messaged me. He goes, "Oh, that was a really good video. I did a video about green and red people in your life." Now, it's the same sort of situation. He never liked anything. He never shared anything. But I met him out on a night out in the town. And he was like, "Hey, Fatz, how you doing, bro? Yeah, things are good, bro. Yeah." And he's a big guy. He's a big laddie lad. And he goes, "That was a really good video. It made me really think." I was like, "When did you watch it?" It was like, "Ages ago. I've watched it like 3 times." I was like, "Really? Why did you fucking like it or share it?" "Yeah, I will, bro. But yeah, you're reaching people that you don't know you're reaching, and sometimes it's just an accident.
100%.
But yeah, we've been talking for 52 minutes.
Yeah, man.
So probably wrap up here before.
By.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's been really, really good talk to you.
Likewise, dude.
I'll definitely everybody go follow Tom on Instagram. I'm going to put all the links in the description.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, good mindset. Very good mindset. It's really good to connect.
Awesome, dude.
Thank you very much for coming on. Anything else you wanted to say?
That's it, my friend. Just we'll kind of finish on that note we were talking about earlier. Like, for anybody that is going through, a hard time right now, I think the thing that helped me the most is not beating myself up about the way I feel, right? And remembering, like, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel stressed. Just be with that in a place of like compassion. Yeah, very good, very self-empowering. Thank you very much for sharing. Cool, guys. Thank you all for being here. Fatz, thank you, my friend. It's been awesome, and I'll no doubt speak to you soon.
Chat to you soon. Take care.
All right, mate. Bye-bye.